Cognates and Germanic roots. Cognates are words from different languages that have a common etymological origin. That is, they come from the same place in linguistic history. They generally have features similar enough that someone who speaks one language might be able to interpret a word in another if they identify it as a cognate. Sometimes these cognates occur because it's a borrowed word, and other times it's because the word comes from a common root, such as a parent language. Borrowed words occur where unfamiliar things and ideas get introduced into another language, and the word is adopted, usually changed to sound right to the borrowers. Common roots in linguistics refers to language families, which trace their origins to various languages. Most European languages trace their lineage to a theorized language called Proto-Indo-European. From there, it breaks off into more language families. Look at this map of Europe. This modern map shows the word for bear, and each color represents a common root language. The purple bits show Germanic languages, and that their word from bear stems from Indo-Europeans' word for brown, whereas the Slavic languages, like Russian and Polish in green, use honey eater to describe bear. We know the Germanic languages spread north from Central Europe and into Scandinavia and over into the British Isles and Iceland. But let's focus on Anglo-Saxon England so we can have a little fun with Anglo-Saxon vocabulary. Deor is Old English for wild animal, which often referred to deer, but not always. Eventually, the meaning shifts. But if you look at the cognates from Danish, German, and Icelandic, these are words that retain wild animal or beast. Horse is horse. You can see the similarities in these cognates from Danish and Swedish and Icelandic. Mul is, you guessed it, mule. Now check out these cognates. In Danish, you even see deer crop back into the mean beast or large animal. Hund is Old English for hound. The cognates from Germany, Sweden, and the Netherlands don't seem to change it much at all. Dodja, on the other hand, that's Anglo-Saxon for dog. And oddly, the linguistic history of this isn't really clear. And part of that is because we don't see any cognates for it in languages with common roots. Kata is, of course, cat, a girl cat. Here we have a word with a Latin root, not Germanic. But the Romans probably borrowed it, and the Proto-Germans probably just borrowed it from them. So you see, we have cognates across language families. French from the Romance family, Irish from the Gaelic, and then, of course, Latin. Sheap. Easier to figure out once you've heard it, is sheep. Very similar in Dutch and German, but we see an example here of this Germanic word being borrowed by the Albanian language to refer not to sheep, but goats. Cognates do that sometime. Words with common roots can come to mean the opposite thing even. Gat is goat, a girl goat. It's pretty easy to see the relation to other languages' words for it. But Gatbuka, a boy goat, is a little different. We see the buka element in modern English as buck, which we more commonly refer to use with male deer. But in other languages, like Dutch and Swedish here, bok just means a male goat. Now, finally, we have swine. That's swine or pig. But we see the cognates in Danish, Icelandic, and German. Now that you've gotten a taste of Old English vocabulary, it starts to become easier to see how our language developed out of it, and how modern English relates to other Germanic languages, like Dutch, Danish, German, and others.